"We're losing thrust." Those were some of the final words from the cockpit of Air India Flight 171, just 12 seconds earlier. The captain's seat suddenly and violently slid backward, setting off a deadly chain reaction. 15 seconds after that, the brand-new Boeing 787 Dreamliner stalled and simply fell out of the sky. The world was told this was a tragic one-off accident. But the evidence points to something far more unsettling. This wasn't just some freak failure. It was a catastrophe born from a flaw buried deep in the plane's design and a corporate culture that had been warned again and again that something like this could happen. June 12, 2025. Air India Flight 1071 starts its takeoff from Ahmedabad, India. There was simply no time to figure out what was happening, let alone fix it. But when you start looking into the 787's history, it starts to look less like an accident and more like a symptom of a much bigger problem. He claimed that sections of the 787's body were unjoined together properly, and that workers were forced to use extreme pressure of jumping on airplane parts just to make them fit. This kind of stress could create weaknesses in the plane's structure over time. For years, whistleblowers inside Boeing had been trying to sound the alarm. Investigators discovered that the 787's throttle system didn't have a basic safety feature, like reverse motion protection, that could have stopped such an accidental power cut. The details in that report will decide the future of the Dreamliner and could change safety rules forever. It was the predictable result of a specific mechanical failure made deadly by a critical design oversight. All happening against a backdrop of serious warnings about the company's culture. The 260 people who died weren't just victims of a technical glitch. They were victims of a system that failed to listen. This disaster is a devastating reminder that in the world of aviation, there is no room for error. And the trust we put in these amazing machines is only as strong as the integrity of the people who build them. If you want to follow this story and see how it all plays out, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. A single, faulty component had doomed the entire flight. Tragically, Barnett was found dead. While he was in the middle of a lawsuit against the company, they show a pattern of ignoring warnings and cutting corners. In the wake of the crash, Boeing has promised a complete redesign of the pilot's seats, which is expected to be rolled out by 2026. Taking this action, but only after a disaster, is a quiet admission that the original design wasn't safe enough. The FAA has since ordered inspections on all 787s, but has decided against grounding the entire fleet. So the fatal flaw of Air India 171 wasn't just a broken lock. It was that mechanical failure combined with a design that had no backup plan, no fail-safe, for something so simple going wrong. His family believes the immense pressure of the case was a factor. Together, these warnings paint a disturbing picture of a company where getting planes out the door seemed to matter more than getting them right. Everything seems perfectly routine. But only 30 seconds after its wheels left the tarmac, the plane crashed into the hostel of a nearby medical college. In the aftermath, the aviation world was scrambling for answers. The initial investigation pointed to a critical failure in the captain's seat. You can hear the co-pilot's frantic calls in the cockpit, but it was already too late. They'd only reached an altitude of about 200 feet. The massive jet stalled and plunged back to Earth. 12 seconds after takeoff, the mechanism that was supposed to lock the seat in place failed, and it shot backward without warning. How could one of the most advanced airliners in the world just drop from the sky? The impact and the explosions that followed were catastrophic, killing all 241 people on the plane and 19 more on the ground. In the middle of all that wreckage, there was a single, improbable survivor, a passenger who had been sitting near an emergency exit that was ripped open on impact. The crash marked a dark milestone, the first ever fatal accident for the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. It's an aircraft that had been flying for over a decade. The answer, found inside the plane's black boxes, was as simple as it was horrifying. As the captain was thrown back, his hands instinctively yanked the throttle levers to idle, killing all power from the engines. The entire sequence, from the seat failing to the final impact, took less than 30 seconds. A broken seat might sound like a one-in-a-million freak accident. One Boeing engineer, Sam Salapur, testified before U.S. lawmakers about what he called dangerous shortcuts. Another whistleblower, a former Boeing quality manager, named John Barnett, said that workers were installing substandard parts on the 787 production line and that the emergency oxygen systems didn't work correctly. Now, these whistleblower claims aren't about the specific seat mechanism on Flight 1071, but they establish a deeply troubling context. And it's not like this was an unknown issue. The final investigation report for Air India 171 is due out in the next few months. It's going to have huge consequences for Boeing and the entire airline industry. The crash of Air India 171 wasn't just some unavoidable tragedy.